What's wrong with footy? There's nothing wrong with footy. That and more as we take a look at round 19 so far. G'day, Kane. What a day at the G.
It was amazing. It genuinely felt like a final there at the MCG today. And how good is a blockbuster Saturday game at the MCG with a huge crowd? So I think the AFL will learn a fair bit from today. We've got another couple over the next 2 weeks. So it's Hawthorn and Essendon next week. Then it's Hawthorn and Geelong the week after. All prime-time day games at the MCG with huge crowds, and I'd like to see more of it next year.
It is our big story and a really great display of football, attacking football, hard at the footy football, and Collingwood kept up with the Tigers for at least three quarters.
They were pretty good, Collingwood, and I don't think they lose any confidence out of this performance today, considering the challenges that they had with injury, which we'll get to very shortly. But their style of footy, we know, stands up in finals. So fierce pressure, they move the ball quickly, they've got some live wire forwards with many avenues to goal. So I think they'll take some confidence out of this, and they're still a genuine contender for this year's premiership, albeit with some riders that they get some of their key personnel back from injury.
Now, you would have to have been living under a rock not to have seen this, but we're going to show it again from every possible angle, and that is Jack Higgins and his remarkable goal. And we do have some news for you that the umpiring department has kicked it off despite the debate going on in pubs and lounge rooms across Australia. The umpires say it was definitely a goal.
It's the best goal I've seen this year, and I'm not sure, well, I haven't seen anything like it in the time that I've watched footy, and I'm not sure we've ever seen a goal like it. So one of the real highlights today, he's been so good to watch. We love him, and he's captured the hearts and minds of all footy fans, and today was just another full stop on that.
He's such a character. Let's hear from him.
Nothing was going through my head. I was just put it up, and I was hoping it wasn't a throw. But I luckily got onto it, and mate, I thought it was a throw, but I got onto it, so it was good.
Have you ever practiced anything like that? Where did that come from?
I haven't practiced anything like that. That was just a fluke.
Even Jack was joking about the throw, or it was perhaps playing on his mind.
Yeah, maybe, but it was a pretty good effort and probably wins goal of the year.
All right, let's take a look at Collingwood's injuries. There is one big injury. There was another one as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, Matt Scharenberg. It looks like an ACL as we take a look for MLC.
Yeah, disaster for him, isn't it? Shattering his third one of his short career. Also had foot injuries, taken him some time to establish himself, and was having a career best year. Had played some footy in a row and was so important for Collingwood. So shattering for him. Looks like the majority of next season he'll be out. And this was the other one. Nasty incident there with Darcy Moore's accidental knee to the head of Jeremy Howe, which saw him off concussed and taking no further part in the game.
You've got a feel for Matt Scharenberg, don't you? An ACL, as you say, next season pretty much a write-off if that is confirmed. And their injury list, Collingwood, it's pretty deep.
No, it is. Look at the names on there. Probably 10 out of their best 22 players on that list. And look, their footy is good enough. We know that. We just haven't seen them with the full-strength side. So credit to what they've done, Collingwood. To be where they are right now with those challenges is amazing. And how far they go will depend on what players they can get back on that list and what impact they can have.
Let's get the latest on Matt Scharenberg now from Nathan Buckley.
We fear the worst, which is shattering for him. That's the overwhelming feeling in the rooms at the moment, is disappointment for him, and we're shattered for him. But that will likely to be confirmed with scans that it's an ACL injury.
Now, it wasn't all bad for the Magpies. In fact, Brodie Grundy had a day out.
I thought he was the best man on the ground. Again, Brodie Grundy. His performance today up against a very good ruckman, a premiership ruckman in Nan Curvis, but his numbers were frightening. This is what he did all day. 23 disposals around the ground. He had 5 clearances, 10 tackles. It's been his strength, but 48 hit-outs as well for Grundy, and I've just absolutely loved the season that he's had. So I really hope that the All-Australian selectors do something they don't often do and include 2 ruckmen in their All-Australian team, because him and Max Gawn have just been so good this year, probably in the top 5 players in the game.
You're sitting on the fence. I was about to ask you, who would you put ahead of the other?
Now, I think Max Gawn's had a better year. I think he's been the most influential player of the season, Max Gawn, but Brodie Grundy's been that good, he deserves a spot in the All-Australian team too.
Well, you mentioned Max Gawn. That's our next game to look at. Melbourne escaping with the win over Adelaide, and it was thanks largely to a third-quarter blitz.
Yeah, they put the foot down, didn't they, in the third quarter, led by the clearance dominance. They were all over the Crows at the stoppages, and it was Gawn again who got the better of Sam Jacobs, but plus 20 in clearances they were, Melbourne's midfield, which has been their strength all year. They've been able to win clearances and contested footy. It's their polish that we'll look at in a minute that has let them down. But look, with Hibberd and Viney potentially still to come back this year, there's some real upside for them. And to go there against a side in Adelaide who are in good form, away from home, is a big win.
Yeah, Adelaide did get themselves kind of back into it late in the fourth quarter, but pretty much ran out of time, and the weather probably didn't help that cause either. We were watching this game together, and you couldn't help but notice Melbourne's errors.
Oh, especially early in the first quarter, just fundamental skill errors. It was a lack of composure. I mean, Adelaide's pressure was good, but hard to explain how a good side full of professional AFL footballers can cough up as many mistakes like this as they did. So that's why I've got them just a rung below. That's probably the top four sides now, is little mistakes like this. And their midfield they're workhorses and they're great contested footy winners, but they don't use it as well as the other best midfields in the competition. So this is an area that they must tidy up if they want to go deep.
Now, when Jeremy Cameron was suspended, the predictions were dire for GWS, but it hasn't come to the fore, has it?
Oh, it's amazing what they've done, and the credit to them. I think they're so well led by Callum Ward and also Phil Davis, and Leon Cameron's done a pretty good job, particularly going down on the bench and coaching from there. But they were 10th in round 13, the Giants. Then Jeremy Cameron got suspended for 5, and we thought, well, the season over almost. But now they're 4th. It's a remarkable turnaround for them. And with the midfield that they've got, with Josh Kelly back in the form that he's in and Toby Green into the side in the forward line, they can potentially cause some real damage in September.
So Cameron comes back. A lot of people did tip GWS for the flag at the start of the season. Do you think that their tip is alive again?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're certainly, clearly Richmond number one. We all know that. And then there's probably 3 or 4 teams just below them, and the Giants are one of those.
Let's go to the Cattery next. Some people thought the Brisbane Lions might have been able to take it up to Geelong. Unfortunately for Lions fans, they weren't able to do it as the game went on, and Tom Hawkins was the star.
It was an important performance for them. Little percentage boost as well for the Cats. And how about this man? 14 goals in his last 2 games. He's the best forward in the game in the last month, probably Tom Hawkins. And whilst he's playing this sort of footy, who knows what Geelong can do, particularly on their home ground. But love the way he's moving and covering the ground. He's marking strongly, and he's an accurate kick for goal. So he's having a fantastic All-Australian type year, Tom Hawkins.
And he's in your team of the week again. You're getting some good feedback about the team of the week?
Yeah, it's been good. So keep that coming. I enjoy going through it every Tuesday.
All right, let's take a look at Tom Stewart now. A syndesmosis ankle sprain could rule him out for the home and away season. He also has been considered by some to be an All-Australian form and has been a key pillar of the Cats' defence.
It doesn't look a lot in it, does it? But clearly he saw it's a nasty injury, one that can linger for some time. So they'll need him back before finals. He's been that good.
Carlton's first win since round 8. Where did this come from against the Gold Coast Suns, the same Suns outfit that beat the Swans last week?
Yeah, disappointing, wasn't it, from Gold Coast? At home, you'd expect them to win this, but all credit to Carlton. I think this is what the Carlton fans have been wanting for clearly some time. They saw some signs from their young players. Dow had 18 disposals, kicked a couple of fantastic goals, but magnificently led by that man again, Patrick Cripps, and Mark Murphy. So captain and vice-captain, they've combined for 41 disposals and 15 tackles between them. So they got their midfield going and with a difference today.
It makes such little sense. The Suns have played now 5 times in Metricon this season. Of course, they had all the travel in the first half of the year because of the Commonwealth Games, but they haven't won at Metricon in those 5 games. They've only got 2 chances left to get a home win.
Yeah, and traditionally been pretty strong there, haven't they, on that home ground? A tough place to go and play footy, but yeah, it's been a terrible year for the Suns, and all the good work they did against Sydney last week, they let themselves down tonight. And
these were concerning scenes as well. An innocuous incident, but David Swallow didn't return to the field after this tackle from Patrick Cripps. But, you know, there's no question, I don't think, that Cripps did anything wrong.
No, nothing to worry about with Cripps. It didn't look like that forceful contact. It was distressing scenes, though, wasn't it? He was confused, and the medical staff, I thought, just from watching on TV, did a magnificent job to calm the situation and calm him down. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll follow that for you on afl.com.au. Now, Stephen May had an interesting encounter with the Curnow brothers all day long. It's probably going to land him in the sights of the match review officer.
Yeah, well, that one was the first one from Charlie Curnow, got him high, and then Stephen May was aggressive. That was payback for that one there, and he told him all about it. So that's fine, but it's this one that I've got concerns about it. Look how far away the ball is there. Curnow not expecting contact. He'll get suspended for that. And look at the score here. This is the last quarter, and he's carrying on like this. Now, this is the captain of the Gold Coast Footy Club carrying on like that. Tom Lynch is going to go and he's going to be the main man. He's got to be a lot better than that, considering he's already spent 9 weeks in his short career on the sidelines through suspension. Add another couple probably to that incident there with Curnow. So pretty poor, I thought.
Yeah, it was so late, that bump. We will hear from Michael Christian about that on Monday. Speaking of the MRO, he has already made a decision on Zach Jones. Interesting the way this has gone. 2 weeks for rough conduct on Langford and then a $1,500 fine for misconduct, not striking, on Merritt.
Yeah, I think they probably got it right, Chriso. That one clearly was not there. The ball was there to be won. He's elected to bump. Similar maybe to Trent Cotchin and Dylan Shield last year, different system now. And this is just stupid. What did he get out of doing that apart from giving a free kick away? So pretty undisciplined stuff there from Jones.
Well, $1,500 out of the pocket for that one. Now let's take a look at the ladder. The Tigers on top. West Coast still to play, of course. Collingwood there in 3rd position. This is where it gets really interesting, though. The Giants in 4th, can you believe? Melbourne in 5th and Geelong in 6th. The battle and the contest inside the top 8 is so intriguing. And then it's a battleground as well as you move further down with the Swans, the Hawks, the Bombers, and then it gets rather bleak, obviously, at the bottom, but at least the Blues have been able to add another 4 points to their tally.
Yeah, a big story for the Crows as well. Their season now over, so gone from being the best home and away side last year, playing in a grand final, to missing the 8. So they've got some regrouping and regathering to do and find out exactly what went on at the Crows this year, because their performance has been disappointing.
This is the rest of the round. North Melbourne and the Eagles at Blundstone Arena, the Western Bulldogs and Port Adelaide, and Fremantle and Hawthorn to round things out at Optus Stadium. Now, one more thing before we go. What do you make of this from Zach Tui?
Well, let's have a look at it here. He turns his back on the player having a shot for goal. I don't mind it. Try something different and try and put him off. And look, it worked. So I'm assuming he'll continue to do that. It's not illegal, is it? You could.
Is that the reason Mitch Robinson misses?
Oh, next time I think they might be awake and do the old run around the man on the mark and slot it from 30 metres out. But no, it was a good effort.
Good stuff, Kane. Thanks for that.
Thank you. See you next week.
Kane Cornes with us. That is the round so far.